Do you remember the days when the sound of a truck or the ring of a doorbell meant something special? Before the rise of big box stores and online shopping, there were services that brought everything you needed right to your doorstep. No hassle, no waiting. From a milkman's daily delivery to the encyclopedia salesman offering knowledge door to door, these services shaped our neighborhoods and created a sense of community. Today, we're looking at 10 of those forgotten services that used to come right to your door. Services that once made life easier and in many ways more personal. Let's dive into the nostalgia. 1. The milkman, a daily ritual. For many families, the arrival of the milkman was a daily ritual that signaled the start of a new day. Back in the 1940s and 50s, milk was delivered straight to your doorstep, often in glass bottles with metal caps that would pop open when you pried them off. The milkman would leave fresh dairy products early in the morning, sometimes even delivering other items like eggs or butter. It was a simpler time when people trusted the local delivery men, and the soft clink of glass bottles became the soundtrack of breakfast. But as supermarkets grew in popularity and people switched to plastic jugs, the milkman slowly disappeared, taking with it that personal touch of community service. 2. The knife sharpener, a whistle and a grind. Before we had electric sharpeners and easy access to replacement blades, there was the neighborhood knife sharpener, with a whistle with the sound of a grinding wheel. It would show up at your door, ready to restore your dull knives, scissors, and even gardening tools to a razor-sharp edge. This service was essential, especially in the days before disposable, one-use products. People didn't just throw away a worn-out knife. They had it sharpened and reused, keeping it in circulation for years. But over time, the rise of mass-produced, cheap tools and the convenience of home appliances made the knife sharpeners visit a thing of the past. 3. The encyclopedia salesman, knowledge at your door. Once upon a time, if you wanted knowledge, you didn't simply Google it. You had to buy an entire set of encyclopedias. The encyclopedia salesman would come knocking, offering you a collection of books that promised to make you the most knowledgeable person in the neighborhood. Families would gather in the living room as the salesman showed them the vast world that could be unlocked by these leather-bound volumes. Over time, though, the internet and digital knowledge sources took over, making door-to-door encyclopedia sales obsolete. But for those who bought a set, those books represented a treasure trove of learning, and they'll always have a special place in our memories. 4. The Fuller Brush Man, household essentials delivered. In the mid-1900s, the Fuller Brush Company became a household name, with their door-to-door salesmen selling cleaning products, brushes, brooms, and even personal care items. The Fuller Brush Man was a familiar sight in neighborhoods across America, often stopping by with a friendly smile, ready to demonstrate the latest product that would make your home cleaner and your life easier. People would open their doors to see the latest innovations in cleaning, sometimes buying products they never even knew they needed. But as supermarkets took over and TV infomercials became the go-to source for new products, the Fuller Brush Man faded into history. 5. The Iceman, bringing cool comfort. Before refrigeration, the Iceman was the lifeblood of many homes, especially in the hot summer months. People relied on him to deliver big blocks of ice, which were used to keep food fresh in their ice boxes. The Iceman would deliver right to your door, and often you'd hear the crunch of ice being cut into chunks as it was delivered into your home. This service continued for decades, but as electric refrigerators replaced ice boxes, the Iceman gradually disappeared. That soft thud of a heavy block of ice dropping into an ice box is now just a memory for most. 6. The Rag Man, trading for the future. Before recycling centers and donation bins, there was the Rag Man. Every so often, he would make his rounds, calling out for any old clothes, rags, or fabric that could be repurposed. It wasn't just about getting rid of things you didn't need. It was about making the most out of what you had. Old clothes would be traded for a little cash, and the rag man would make sure the fabric found its next life, either as insulation, paper, or rags for cleaning. As thrift stores and organized charity donations became the norm, the rag man slowly faded away. But he played an important role in reducing waste and giving a second life to everyday items. 7. The Coal Man, keeping the home fires burning. For many families living in colder parts of the U.S., the coal man was an essential service. He would deliver bags or even ton-loads of coal directly to your home, filling your coal bin so that your family could keep warm through the winter. It was a messy job, coal, dust, heavy bags, but it was a job that people relied on, especially before central heating was common. But with the advent of gas and electric heating, the coal man found himself replaced by cleaner, more efficient options. The smell of burning coal and the sound of the coal truck rumbling through the streets are long gone, replaced by modern heating systems that don't require delivery. 8. The knife and scissor sharpener, the door-to-door edge. Before DIY home tools became popular, the doorbell would often ring to announce the arrival of the knife and scissor sharpener. With a sharpener on his back and a gentle clang of metal, he'd stop by to ensure your knives were sharp enough to slice bread, and your scissors could snip thread with ease. This service became a household staple for those who didn't want to toss out their trusted tools. With the rise of more affordable kitchen gadgets and the decline of manual labor, the sharpener faded into nostalgia, though some people still remember those familiar faces. 9. The newspaper delivery person. First of the morning news. Before digital news feeds and 24-hour cable channels, the newspaper delivery person was a vital part of every morning routine. At the crack of dawn, kids or adults would deliver a fresh newspaper to your doorstep, wrapping it in rubber bands to protect it from the elements. Those few minutes spent with the morning paper, whether it was reading about local events or sipping coffee, was a part of everyday life. But as digital media took over, fewer homes subscribed to the paper, and the paper boy or paper girl slowly vanished. Still, there's something special about that early morning knock and the rustle of paper under your door. 10. The home milk and bread delivery. Breakfast on your doorstep. Before grocery stores stocked shelves with ready-to-go breakfast options, families relied on milk and bread deliveries. The local delivery man or woman would bring fresh loaves of bread and jugs of milk right to your door, often in the early morning hours. This was more than just a convenience. It was a ritual, a time-saving service that allowed families to focus on their day without worrying about essentials. But the rise of big grocery chains and the invention of refrigerated trucks led to the end of door-to-door bread and milk delivery. Now, we pick up these essentials ourselves, but there was a time when you could count on these items being delivered with a smile. These services weren't just about convenience. They were about community, trust, and a simpler time when people knew their neighbors. They represented a connection between the past and the present, a way of life that has slowly but surely faded. As we look back on these forgotten services, we can't help but feel a bit nostalgic for a time when life seemed just a little slower and a lot more personal. Thanks for walking down memory lane with us. If you enjoyed this look at the past, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more nostalgic trips through the good old days. We'll see you next time.